What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Mayo, producer, songwriter extraordinaire, and today we're gonna be talking to you about how to build successful relationships, how to build healthy relationships in the music business. So stay tuned, and we'll be getting right to it. All right, so first things first, personality. You gotta have a great personality, or at least you gotta make the effort to have a great personality. And no, that does not mean you gotta be the funny guy, you gotta be the talkative guy, you gotta be the outgoing person. You can be the quiet guy in the room, but as long as you are decent, you do your work, you're not pissing people off, you're easy to be around. That's the most important thing, because you gotta look at it like this: when somebody has a session with you, if you're not easy to be around, or if you're annoying, they're not gonna wanna vouch for you. Be like, yo, come to the studio with my homie Mayo. Or they're not gonna, if they in the studio, they're not gonna be like, yo, they get on the phone with you, yo, pull up to the studio. Like, you know what I'm saying? You wanna make sure that you are aware of how you show up for people, how you show up in other people's lives, and how they hear you, how they see you. That has a really large impact on whether you're gonna be getting in a room with certain people, because unless you meet somebody at Walmart and just so happen to have a great conversation, a lot of your relationships are gonna come from you being in the studio with so-and-so and so-and-so, being in the studio with this other guy and then saying, yo, come through. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of relationships are gonna work out for you. And if you're really not like clear on how you show up for people or how you are, you should ask. I took a class one time and they gave us these questions that we ask people so we know how people hear us and how people see us. And I'll give you those questions. So the first one is, what are my strengths? Second one, what are my weaknesses? Third, what does everybody know about me? Fourth, what can I be counted on for? Number five, what can I not be counted on for? You ask people these questions, and people who are, you can ask anybody, like anybody in your circle, especially that, what does everybody know about me? You'll start to find like, oh dang, like what I found out when I was asking people that is, people are like, hey man, you don't have as much confidence like in yourself as you should, man. Like, you're extremely talented and you know a lot, and you you think a lot less of yourself than you should. So I got to see, like, okay, things I knew about myself. It's like, yeah, I know I'm talented, but to hear that as a weakness, like, it's like, okay, that's a thing that everybody sees. So it's good to ask those kind of questions, to get an idea of how people see you. Next, I would say, is communication. You gotta be able to communicate. I've had so many issues with communication, just not even just with the music thing, but just with my relationships all around my life. You can't do that in this business because a lot of people are already fickle. A lot of people struggle to be transparent, or even just to be real about, how they're being. Like, if they're being like fake, or they're being like snaky or whatever, they're not gonna be upfront with you about that. So you gotta really learn how to communicate with people, and call people on their bullshit, for one, but also don't be on no bullshit. You know what I mean? And if you are, just know, like, at any moment, like, either people gonna call you out for it, or people gonna just not deal with you. And either way they go, like, it's not a win for you. So you want to focus on things that are going to be wins for you. Like I said, communicate clearly, communicate effectively. I've taken courses strictly on how to communicate, and just how to build relationships. As long as you're in business, as long as you're working with people, even if you're working a 9 to 5, understanding how to communicate with people and understanding the importance of building relationships. If you're at a job and your manager does not like you, and he's got to let somebody go, it's gonna be you if he likes everybody else. Or if he's getting ready to give somebody a promotion and he just likes that guy more than the other one, more than you, he's gonna get that guy the promotion. Now, that doesn't mean you gotta kiss this guy's ass. You know what I mean? I don't recommend at all that you do anything outside of your character to get to where you're trying to go, because that's something that's going to more than likely haunt you for your entire career, life, whatever. It's going to haunt you. And I say that because if you're being a way that isn't like authentic, then that's a whole path. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole person you just created. And that person is the person who's walking towards success, not you, not who you really are. So that means you got to carry that whole person with you throughout your entire career, or whatever it is, throughout your entire life. If you get into a relationship with someone, then you gotta and you're being fake. You gotta be that person, or you know what I mean. You don't know. Like, they might not really like when the real you comes out. They might not like you, and it's just like a wasted effort at a relationship because you didn't come in being authentic. Lastly is integrity. You guys are gonna hear me talk about integrity a lot because integrity is truly what is required for someone to really see you and hear you how you see yourself. If you want to show up in other people's lives as a leader, you want to show up as a person who is successful, if you want to show up, you can't just talk the talk. You gotta follow it up. If you say, yo, I'm gonna send you some beats today, look out in your email, and you don't send no beats, and you don't say nothing about like, yo, got caught up doing this, blah blah. If you just don't do anything, like, they gonna look at you a different way, because now here you are saying, yeah, I'm gonna send some beats, I'm gonna do this. Now anytime you say I'm gonna do something, each time you do that, it's less and less that I believe you, because you showing me that what you say doesn't really match up with what you do. People watch out for your actions. They hear your words, but they watch out for your actions. And if your actions don't follow up with your words, then you're not who you say you are, and essentially you just lose value, you lose worth. So integrity is a huge thing. Another example, writing songs. Somebody sends you some beats, write some songs. If you're not gonna write some songs, man, say, hey, I may or may not write to it. Or you say, you know, hey, I didn't really like that, Pac, man. Can you send something else? But communicate with people. That goes back to step number 2. Being who you say you are is so important. Being on time, showing up to sessions. Don't ever be a no-call, no-show. Don't ever be the guy who's always canceling, or the girl, you know, who's always canceling. Like, you know, like I said, treat it like a job. And if you say you're gonna come to the studio at 6, be at the studio at 6. I know some of us in the urban department like to pull up whenever we like to pull up. We like to just show up on CP time, but it just isn't a good practice. You know, people have things to do, people have schedules, and the more you get to working with, like, you know, more successful people, especially if you're crossing over into different arenas or different businesses, you start to work with different crowd of people. That isn't gonna be something that, you know, people are gonna appreciate. You know, you gotta show up on time. You gotta do what you say you're gonna do. People want to be able to work with people they can trust and they can rely on. You gotta be reliable, and a lot of that is, you know, your integrity. Are you who you say you are? Are you gonna do what you say you're gonna do? So, for me, those are like the huge 3 things. A lot of people have been asking me how to have success in the music business, and I mean, there's so many different elements, so I'm more than likely going to be doing quite a few videos to just kind of share my knowledge and shed some light on some things. And yeah, so that concludes this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Also, follow me on Instagram at Produced by Mayo. That's Mayo spelled M-E-O. And with that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.